Hello, great minds. Welcome back after a while. Hope you're doing great today. I'm so excited to see you. Hope you're excited to be part of the conversation we are starting. We are starting a new series that would empower you, that will open up your eyes to the little things that are very, very sensitive that you experience daily. Some you allow, some you disallow. This conversation will make you conscious of these things so that your allowing and disallowing will be a deliberate thing. In case you are new to this channel, feel free to be part of us. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. I would encourage you to do so because it is value adding. The Bible tells us that faith without works is dead. Come and know how to apply that which you know, that which you believe in. And for the returning viewers, as usual, you are welcome. Feel free to place your comments in the comment section. Our conversations is always two ways. It's not a one-way thing. So I'm learning from you as you're learning from me. We are rubbing minds together to make us better. Yes. So the series you're starting is the victim perspective. The victim perspective. A victim is an unfortunate person who has experienced an adverse circumstances, who has been affected by some adverse circumstances. So that is a victim. A victim is an unfortunate person. I want you to pay attention to this definition, because once you understand what this is, then you would know where you stand. You will know not just where you stand, where you choose to stand. Because sometimes we find ourselves in a particular place, in a particular atmosphere, in a particular situation that we have not caused, but we can choose where exactly we stand in that circumstance, in that place. A victim is an unfortunate person. That is how it is defined. It is not defined as an unfortunate event. Unfortunate person who have been affected by some adverse circumstances. So I want you to hold that in one hand, the definition of a victim. Perspective, for me, I would say perspective is the angle one chooses to focus on a particular thing. It can also be the angle one chooses to relate and interpret and act on a particular thing. So it could be you standing here and seeing through something and making a conclusion about the whole thing that you have seen and the experience you went through in coming to that conclusion. The victim perspective. Life generally just throws things at us. Life happens daily. But since we cannot stop life or pause life, I wish we could. I know, assuming there's a remote somewhere where we can stop life, where we can pause and say, oh, let me catch my breath. When I'm ready, I'll continue. A whole lot of people would have gone to get it. And possibly the most richest, those people who have the cash, would have gone to buy extra and keep. And then some will be trying to get it. And some people would have monopolized it, turned it into business. You have to pay double to access it and all that. But no remotes. No remote to everyday life. No remote to everyday things that happen. But thank God that we can control ourselves in the midst of doing life, in the midst of the life happening, in the midst of the day. Now, the way you see things matters a lot. The way I see things matters a lot. The way you see things matters a lot. You should not live your life to chance. You should not live your life to just keep flowing with the day, just like we cannot control the day. You should not now leave yourself to just flow in the day and not be able to control the day. You can actually control yourself. You can actually control your perspective. You can actually control how you interpret things. You can actually control to a very, very large degree. One of the best things that God has given man is the power of choice. The power of choice. So you have a choice to make, as I have a choice to make. You have a choice and a chance to take, as I have a choice and a chance to take. Some things are your responsibility. They cannot be hanged on another man's shoulder. And even if that man has done something that warrants us pointing finger at that man to some extent, we will point back at you when we get to some level into that matter. So when we talk about the victim is just an unfortunate person. So one question I want to ask you, are you a victim? Are you a victim? How do you see life and how do you do life? When you wake up daily, from what lens do you view life? We talk about perspective. Perspective is the angle you choose to see something from. Some people would not talk long without telling you how someone disappointed them, without telling you how they cannot control things, without telling you how things are beyond my reach, they just keep focusing on the negative. And so they put themselves to become the victim, to become the unfortunate person. But those who would see the good in every situation and know that yes, even if this is happening, this can still come out of it, those people are not the victim. Perspective is how someone has positioned himself to the advantage by the way he or she views things, by the way he or she views happenings, by the way he or she interacts daily, by the way he or she interprets events and situations. Somebody can be in the worst situation but take the best option by making the best use of it. Are you the one who will wake up daily blaming everything and everybody and just speaking of negative and talking of negative and for real start seeing negative? Then maybe you should sit down, relax and check where you have positioned yourself. Have you positioned yourself in the victim perspective, in the victim area, at the victim's corner, on the victim's seat? To have the victim perspective, do not see yourself as unfortunate. You are not unfortunate. Even if the event looks like it is an unfortunate event, it is like unpalatable, it is something that is not presentable, not interesting, your perspective, your view about it can shape the reality of it and can shape, because it will govern your own outcome. So it can shape how you come out of it. Do not always have the victim mentality. Oh, I could not control this. This is always happening to me, and that is always happening to me, and I have no control over this, and there's nothing I would have done about it. But the truth is, first, how you see it. When some spies were sent into the land to go and spy the land, Canaan land, others were saying, oh, there were giants in the land. He said, we saw ourselves, as little, small among those giants, and so they saw us. So they were the first to say they see themselves as small, the victim's perspective. But Joshua and Caleb said, we can enter the land, we can take over the land. That is not a victim perspective, that is a victorious perspective. Different people went into the same place, saw the same thing, had the same experience, and came out with a different testimony, with a different perspective, with a different interpretation, with a different, formation. What is your perspective? Where do you position yourself? Are you a victim? Have you placed yourself in that victim position? This in other videos so that we don't rush so many things in one video. But as we go along, I would like you to just follow through. And I know that by the grace of God, at the end of this series, we'll be looking at things from other angles, because it is important. Because the temptation is real. With what is happening daily in every part of the world, with what is happening, it is so easy to fall into that victim mentality. To say, oh, I was born in this country. If I had not been born in this country, maybe my life would have been different. That is a victim mentality. So the way you view things, the way you draw conclusions, the way you analyze places you in a position either to the advantage or to the disadvantage, either to the victim or the victorious. And as I have defined for you, the victim is an unfortunate person first before you start talking about the adverse circumstances that the person experienced. What is your perspective? What is your perspective to the nation you are living in? What is your perspective to the job you're currently working in? What is your perspective to the business you're currently doing? What is your perspective in that relationship? What is your perspective about your marriage? How do you see things? How do you interpret things? How do you draw your conclusion? Where do you position yourself? Can you do something about it? Can you take action about it? Can you reposition yourself? Can you stand firm in the right place? Are you a victim or a victor? You define. You tell me. Because the truth is, we all can choose where we stand, no matter the circumstances. We all can choose the outcome of our own experience, no matter what the situation is saying, the situation is presenting, the situation has prepared. We have a choice to make, and we have to stand rightly. We have to stand firm. We have to stand in a way that it will benefit not just us, but generations to come. Not just us, but those connected to us. Not just us, but those believing and looking up to us. Not just us, but those who have seen us as people they can learn from. The victim's perspective. This conversation, we are continuing it in the next video. We'll continue it in the next video. And I'd like to see you there, because in the next video, we'll be talking about facts and truth. And as we go, we'll unfold other things. But then, before we go for now, ask yourself, am I a victim? Was I made a victim by others and I accepted it? Or did I walk into victimization by my own definition of the situation? Can I come out of it if I'm already there? Or am I a victor thinking I am a victim? Let's ponder on this till we meet again in the next video. However, remember to put in your comments in the comment section, because this conversation is a two-way thing. What do you think about? Can somebody be a victim by choice? Or can somebody just be a victim without their choice? Let's have this conversation in the comment section. See you in the next video. Ponder on this. Don't just let this video slide. Ciao.